Feels like a family issue, but, you always have your ear to the street. I was wondering maybe you heard something.
Nah, man. That's white people work. Ain't heard nothing about it at all.
In the past few seasons, Marvin's been trying to breathe, he's been trying to work, cope, and get his stuff together. This season, it's zero tolerance. Like if you said something or did something slick, you're gonna have to pay for that. Marvin is not really gonna give people the benefit of the doubt. That was a quote from London Brown before the start of season 4, and his character has basically lived up to exactly that. He's taken a zero tolerance approach, but he has also made a lot of mistakes. Mistakes you don't want to be making when it comes to the Italians. And it does leave you wondering, where are they taking this storyline with Marvin, Rock, Ellie Tyler, and also Stefano? Because it is reaching tipping point. Something is going to have to give when it comes to this situation with Marvin, which I don't think will personally end with his death. I still think Marvin will survive season 4, but at what cost? That's the hot topic of discussion in today's breakdown, as we discuss Marvin's latest mistake in terms of killing Londell, which isn't a mistake as such, but leaving Ellie Tyler alive definitely is. That's going to come back to haunt not just him, but also Rock and her entire organisation, in my opinion. But let's take a step back and take a look at the events that led up to this point, where Stefano questioned Marvin around what he knows about one of his guys being killed from Howard Beach. Now, since the beginning of season 4, Marvin and Stefano have struck up a decent relationship behind Rock's back. We do have to make that point early on. This all started behind Rock's back around the episode 305-306 mark. He completed a couple of missions for Stefano, but one of them ended up with him taking that zero tolerance approach we spoke about at the start of this breakdown, which did leave a vacant position for Stefano's most prized business in Corona. Because Ellie Tyler helped him reconnect back with Amber back in 403, he repaid him by helping him come on board and replacing Stefano's guy out in Corona. However, during this meeting, Stefano made 2 points which I do think we need to remember. This Corona business has been in his family for a very long time. It holds a lot of sentimental value as well as being one of his most profitable businesses. Number 2, he warned Marvin, if anything were to go wrong with this Corona operation with Ellie Tyler, then he's going to be looking in Marvin's direction. He's the one who's responsible for Ellie Tyler. Much like when he got rid of Terry from their transportation operation, Rock said something very similar. David was now his responsibility, and that's another topic we're going to come to in just a moment. But he was responsible for Ellie Tyler. Now in 406, Ellie Tyler mentioned he was having trouble with one of the guys not paying him from Howard Beach, and Marvin's response was, handle that shit himself. Well, he did just that. He handled it with the help of Londell, and they went and killed the guy from Howard Beach. Now this person that they killed and left in the East River was actually very close with Stefano, and he's been on the hunt for the killer ever since. So, this situation has put Marvin in a really sticky situation, because this is something he's been running behind Rock's back for a while. It's his own hustle separate to his and Rock's operation, but it really is an absolute mess. We started with Marvin's zero tolerance approach, lack of judgment, and more importantly, lies. Rock asked about him being spotted by law enforcement going to see Stefano back in 403, where he lied to Rock, and if he was honest back then, Rock would probably have shut this shit down pretty much straight away, because she knows more than anyone, you can't be messing around with the Italians in the way Marvin is. If Stefano was happy to go and get rid of one of his own in Salbacelli, who's Marvin to Stefano, who are the Thomases to the Italians, they'll use them in proxy wars, use them to get what they want, and when he's done with them, or when he doesn't need them anymore, he'll move on to the next, maybe even throw them into his furnace. Just like he told Marvin back in 407, Rock needed to be moved aside. So, had he been honest with Rock back here, she would have definitely have shut this shit down. Now having said that, he did also have another opportunity to tell Rock back in 407. The reason why he didn't was because he knew he messed up, but he thought he could probably fix it himself. But the problem is, he created such a mess. The only way to contain the situation was to now go and get rid of both Ellie Tyler and Londell. Londell is someone who did a bid for 5 years because he's someone who previously talked too much. So, Rock told Marvin to go get rid of both Ellie Tyler and Londell. Now this situation really was reminiscent of what Marvin did back in season 2 with Tony Deep. Sal Baselli, who at the time was the boss of New Jersey before Phil Russo, wanted Marvin's head, an eye for an eye. He thought he lost his son in Marco Baselli, so he wanted Marvin in return. But that wasn't up for debate or even in Rock's thought process, and it certainly won't be in episode 409 when Stefano tries to do something very similar.
You loyal to your family? I'm loyal to mine.
Marvin talked to me about replacing you.
Sure, Marvin made a huge mistake by getting into bed with the Italians in the first place, but Rock just won't turn her back on Marvin, although I do think she is going to lose her shit again, because he's made an even bigger mistake when he went and just killed Londell when she told him to go and get rid of both, leaving Ellie Tyler alive I wouldn't be surprised if he's already gone and had a meeting with Stefano on his own behind Marvin's back to kind of go ahead and get ahead of this situation. I did get a feeling with the meeting between Stefano and Marvin, Stefano knew more than he was letting on. He kind of looked disappointed, as if he was giving Marvin an opportunity to come clean. Because I think he actually likes Marvin. Back in my breakdown for 408, I broke down a very similar situation where Felipe Lobos was testing Ghost and Tommy. He asked them how was business, knowing their operation got hit. Just like Phil Russo told Unique back in 406, he has people in the streets that tell him things that happen across the pond. So, don't you guys think Stefano has the same? I did get the feeling he was just testing the waters with Marvin, but when he didn't come clean, he sent him a stern warning.
When I find out who's behind that, somebody's going to be wearing concrete slippers.
I mean, even if Stefano doesn't know at this moment in time, Marvin gave the okay to Ellie Tyler. Eventually, he will, and it is going to happen pretty soon. I wouldn't be surprised if he found out in episode 9, or it's revealed in episode 9 that he knows, because he is going to start playing between Marvin and Rock. I played the clip a moment ago from the trailer from episode 9, where Stefano tells Rock Marvin came to him about replacing her. However, we know that's not true. I do think Rock will probably see through Stefano's games as well, but it is a big problem, because now they know that Stefano's on the brink of turning on them. If Stefano and Phil Russo also come to a truce, which Unique is trying to broker through Snaps and Pop, then it really is a big problem. The Thomases are going to stay loyal to each other, I have no doubt about that, and they certainly won't be bowing to Stefano's demands. When have we ever seen Rock bow to anyone? That's not Rock. So, could this mean that Stefano kind of reluctantly makes a deal with Phil Russo, which in essence may mean they no longer need Rock or Marvin, because then they'll have Unique to take control over Queens, effectively even taking control over Rock's organization and supply from the Afghans. It genuinely is a possibility. In my last breakdown, I ran through how Snaps and Pop are playing the best chess game in Season 4. They're controlling the entire chessboard, and they really do have a big say in what happens here. If they approach Stefano and help broker a peace deal between him and Phil Russo, Rock and the Thomases are genuinely going to be in the mud. Now, Marvin and Rock did speak about making a move on Stefano in 407, but we haven't seen them put any moves in motion. If they are, they really do need to move quick, because Unique's already made his move. Stefano's already planning and plotting his. Whether Rock can bring in Lou after his dark turn, I hope so. I do think we are going to see it. I think she does need him, because she's got way more problems than just this issue with Stefano, Marvin, and a potential alliance with Phil Russo. Just have a look at what Marvin left with in terms of her transportation side. David's a bit of a drug addict, he's got loose slips, he's losing his employees, and frankly he's just an entire mess. This isn't someone who Rock would normally do business with, and that's another issue that Marvin created. So, I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to shit at the same time, just to pile even more pressure on Rock. This whole situation is reaching tipping point, and at this moment in time, if I were to genuinely be honest, I can only see it going one way. Stefano betraying the Thomases, making an alliance with Phil Russo, and where Unique then comes out on top, where he's backed by not just Phil Russo, but also Stefano. Also taking Rock's connection with Hafiz at the same time, taking the entire drug trading Queens, and maybe even bringing Kanan on board just to add insult to injury. Imagine Unique taking Rock's entire empire and then her son. Now that really would be checkmate. However, when it's against someone like Rock, it never is checkmate. Never count out Rock. Even though I do think Marvin's made a complete mess, she is going to stay loyal, just like she did back in Season 2 and also in Season 3. Sal Baselli wanted Marvin, and Detective Howard also wanted Rock to give up Marvin towards the end of Season 3. But she's someone who will always stay loyal, and eventually, she will find a way of hitting back. But I do think in the short term, Marvin's mistakes, as well as Rock's issues with Quan, will contribute towards a crumbling empire. In terms of where does this leave Marvin for the rest of Season 4 and then heading into Season 5? I think if Stefano wants his head for the situation in Howard Beach, he may even have to lay low for a while. He may even have to get out of Queens for a bit until things blow over. I don't think Marvin is that type to ever run. He's someone who's straight up guns and fists. But can you really go up against Unique and the Italians with just guns and fists when you've got a crumbling empire? When and if Stefano's making an alliance with Phil Russo, I don't think you can. There's also going to be the small matter of this teaser that we spoke about last week. A red car that seems to be coming under heavy gunfire. Could it actually be Unique retaliating in a role reversal situation from what we saw back in Season 1, when we saw Marvin coming at Unique? Something just to wonder and keep in mind for sure. But that's a breakdown of where we are at this moment in time with Marvin. We've gone through a lot in terms of his mistakes from Season 4, various different perspectives, and potential outcomes to this storyline which is reaching tipping point. You can sense something big is about to happen, it's just a matter of what. Will they be able to make a move on Stefano before it's too late? Will it be time to say goodbye to Ellie Tyler? Or will Stefano go and make a peace deal with Phil Russo and completely turn the table on the Thomases, which I am leaning towards at this moment in time. But let me know what you think. Where do you think it leaves Marvin heading into the home stretch? But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.